welcome back. Another post-game show, another Duke win. Duke is 21-1 now on the season, 10-0 in conference play. None of that necessarily was in doubt before this game started. And the way this game started, you thought this was going to be a runaway. 11-0.
You thought JD had it predicted right.
Well,
but JD was wrong again.
Yeah, maybe, what do they say? A broken clock is right twice a year or something like that? Twice a day?
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
One of these games you'll get it right there.
I'm going to my Clark Kent.
You got to be able to see a little bit better.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, okay. 11-0 run. Start the game. Starting off with a Cam three-pointer. Just also, right off the bat, really good to have Sarr and Foster being healthy and able to start this game, at least from what we know, healthy. And my favorite moment from this game came in that 11-0 run. I know there's a couple of other really good moments, certainly in the first half. Cam's dunk at the end of the half. But my favorite moment of the game was definitely Evans going to the floor to get a steal, passing it to Cam, who had to spin out as he's kind of losing his balance, throws it up court to Foster, who finds Dame Sarr for the alley-oop. And at that point, Duke gets another bucket after that, and it's like we're rolling. We're feeling really good. But this Boston College team, I said it in the preview, they're a good defensive team, and they have a knack for staying in games that they lose. So it's a weird thing, but they do have a knack.
I'll give you the second half of that. They have a knack for staying in games, which is what they did tonight. But I also think there were ample opportunities for Duke to have scored more points tonight.
Let's talk about that. I think some of it was Shire trying to give other guys an opportunity. We saw extended minutes for Darren Harris. We'll get to the stats in a little bit. Caden Boozer played more than he probably typically would. We saw a little bit more of an extended stretch for Cam off the court. And we just had no flow in the second half. Just couldn't get into any sort of rhythm. I was trying to pull the stats. I couldn't get them for what we ended up shooting in the second half alone.
No, I have the basic stats. I don't have percentages.
I mean, it just felt like I know we play at a methodical pace, but we never got into hit the guy in the corner, screen. There was no rhythm or any sort of flow offensively to get guys engaged and kind of flow, or humming, I should say, for a different word. But we just never got. It was just very stagnant. Now, you can give some credit to Boston College, who is a good defensive team. But I also feel like Duke got their lead, 15 points, and then just cruised. Just took their foot off the gas. Knew they could play really good defense.
Jack, I did quickly bring up the team percentages, and we shot 48%. They shot 38.5%. We shot 27.8% from three. They shot 25%. We finished at 70% from the free throw line, which I'm now going to have to live with. We out-rebounded them. We out-rebounded them 34-30. We had doubled them up on assists, 15-8. 2 blocks to 1. We had 10 steals as a team to their 2. They turned it over 11 times. We turned it over 9. Again, most of our points coming in the paint, 38-18. And no one was in foul trouble. So
It was one of the weirder things. Like this team, how many times this year have we said like a tale of two halves for Duke, right? Like I'd say at least 10 times. The weird part today was, or tonight, it was the first half that was pretty good, and then the second half, it just, I don't know. Were they looking ahead? Was it the rotations? Um,
well, you kept saying how they were experimenting with the rotations, trying to give it some time out there. And I felt each time they came back from doing that, they were flat. Minutes. Let me just quickly run down minutes. I know you like to go to the stats a little later, but it's interesting. In a game like this, Jack, how many minutes do you think Cam had?
I am going to say, well, I feel fairly confident because I looked at his.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, so I'm going to say
And,
34 minutes.
yeah,
Because
and then
I,
next was Evans at 31, and Darren got 9.
yep.
I mean, he was trying to.
He really
Many
was. He
had.
really gave
He
him
really was.
every
He
opportunity
get,
today.
he
Tonight.
had many almost played a half. Caden had 14. Um, Dame only 19, didn't really need him. Maybe, we know he struggled in the last game. Maybe he's not 100% yet, and we do need him at 110% for the game at North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, and there were some really good moments in the first half. You had Malik getting a nice one-handed oop from Caden. Well, I said that backwards. Malik was one-handed. Caden threw it with two hands. Then Cam found Malik again for a dunk. So both boozers were finding Malik for dunks. Malik found Evans for another dunk. We were getting a bunch of dunks. It kind of, in some ways, it kind of mirrored the Virginia Tech game, except we didn't have the Virginia Tech game. We kind of let go of the rope a little bit at the end of the first half. In this game, it was the second half where we just didn't get going at all. Now, what I will say is our defense was still very good. There's a little bit of an
I got I,
asterisk to
I
that.
got to find a glove. I got to find a glove.
Yeah, a little bit of an asterisk to that because I do feel like there were times where we gave up open looks, and this Boston College team is just not a good shooting team. They did hit a few, don't get me wrong, but they didn't, similar to Virginia Tech, didn't punish us for some of our defensive mistakes. But I mean, Cam was outstanding. Malik played really well. Evans got it going. Pat had it going early, and then didn't get as involved late. Um, but to your point, I was really hoping to get something substantive from Nick, Dame, Caden, Darren, and we didn't get it.
So that they would have been able to build on that for the North Carolina game.
Yeah, and I mean, and moving on, not just the North Carolina game, because if this team's going to get to where we, think or hope, depending on how we feel on a given day, where this is the Final Four contender for sure, and for that to happen, yeah, I know you always like to say it's a 6-game winning streak, but let's just take it 2 games back to get to the Final Four. You need to win 4. I don't know if you're going to be able to just rely on Cam and Malik and Pat, I mean, Malik's not a starter, but effectively he's certainly one of our 5 best players. And I think we're going to need more from those other guys, especially offensively.
If not, if you're not like the most recent example may have been UConn when they went on their run where they just dominated the march to the championship,
Yeah.
and also Wisconsin, with the Big Ten. No, they lost in the championship. Look, you're going to have 6 games if you're going to win the championship. And I was telling you, there's one game in which free throws will determine the game. That makes me nervous. And there's one of those 4 games that, what was the other point that I made to you? That the game will be decided by, it'll come to me in a second, but they're both Achilles heels for us. And I get nervous about that. And you do need a strong rotation. There'll certainly be one of the games will be a game in which fouls will play a role in it.
Yeah.
And if it's a fouls on our big guys, then who will step up? And, those are 2 games that are going to happen as part of the, and I always used to say that you needed a really good big man. We have a really good big man, and you needed a really good point guard that can control the game. And I'm still a little nervous about that.
Yeah, I understand that, especially at the free throw line. But I do think Foster has done a good job of controlling games. I really do, like, he has embraced that role for this team. He does a good job of getting everybody set up. Now, if we're at the end of a tight game and he's got to hit 2 free throws, am I going to be nervous? Hell yeah. But with that being said, at times this year, I think it was Michigan State, there have been a couple of games where he's hit clutch free throws. So that gives me some hope, but his free throw percentage is just, for a guy with as good of a shooting touch as he has, it should be better than what it is. Before we get to the stats, please like this video. It really helps us out. Drop your comments in the chat. We'll get to you guys in a little bit here. And subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 2,200. Would love to get there by March Madness. So, stats for this one. Duke wins by 18 points. You mentioned the team percentages. Do you have let's see. We started off 12 of 13. So that means we went 12 of 37. So just under 33% from the field after a really nice hot start. That is brutal to get there. Now, the overall percentages, not terrible. 48%, 28% from 3. We have not shot the ball well in conference play. Hopefully, I don't think we're a 28% three-point shooting team. We're not a 40% three-point shooting team. I hope we'll start to shoot more in the low to mid-30s. Because we've been below 30%.
Right. And it certainly didn't happen tonight. But somebody out of Menya, Sarr, Evans like performance. Well, not Foster, but I'm thinking a streak of 2 to 3 free throws, 3-pointers.
I think Foster could get 2 to 3. I think so. But I don't know. I think he's one of our higher percentage 3-point shooters. It's him or Cam who are our highest percentage 3-point shooters. All right.
I don't recall him going on a roll. That's all.
Well, I think he's had a couple. I think so. I'll pull up the stats in a little bit later. Cam, 19 points, 12 boards, 5 steals. Only 2 assists for him in this one, which is notable because typically he's more in that 4 assist range. But some of that is
we only scored 67 points.
And we weren't hitting outside shots, which is typically where he gets his assist too. And they weren't doubling as they did sometimes, but they didn't double as much with the big, which would leave him to the drop-off pass to Malik or Pat. There was the one possession where they triple-teamed him. That was pretty wild. Yeah. And then he kicked it to Caleb, who found Evans. Evans drove in for the and one. Pat finished with 9 points and 9 rebounds, almost the double-double for a big Pat, a steal and a block for him.
In only like 22 minutes, 23 minutes.
Yes. Dame
Big Pat played well.
He did. He did. Dame had 6 points, a couple of boards. Evans had 12, 2 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal and 1 block. Foster 8 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. Malik 4 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, several deflections. Not listed here. Hemenia 6 points, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Caden had 1.2 rebounds, 1 assist, and Darren had a couple of points in his 9 minutes. Anything jump off to you there?
Yeah, I just want to say before Laura corrects me, Caleb didn't have a bad game. He did not have a bad game. I just want him to continue to grow. That's all. I'm very happy with where he has gotten, but it would be nice to continue to see that growth, which you had pointed out very early on in the year. Give him time, and he was maturing. I just don't know if he's taking further steps, but he's certainly not hurting us the way he used to be.
Yeah, I think he's been just fine. I don't need him to score a lot. I like he's been more consistent of late. Right after the big outburst by him against Louisville, he had a couple of scoreless games, but of late he's been 8 points, 7 points, 7 points, 8 points. I'm just looking at his game log right now because of what we were talking about in terms of his 3-point shooting. He had 3 threes against Florida State. He had 3 threes against Georgia Tech. He had a couple against Texas Tech, a couple against Arkansas. So I'm not saying it's happened a lot, but I think in about 5 or 6 games of the 20, what are we at? 22 games? 21 games? 22 games.
22.
He's hit multiple threes, so he's capable. All right. Let me get to the medals before we go to the chat here, as I'm sure we'll spend a little bit of time on this game, and then I'm sure we're going to have people looking ahead, because, how could you not? Well, this will be like almost a mini preview before the bigger preview that we'll have Thursday. So, medals for me in this one, I am going with all the bigs. I'm going Cam, gold, just phenomenal. 5 steals for Cam. He was all up over those passing lanes. I'm going with Pat. I thought his first half was really good. For Big Pat. And then I'm going Malik with the bronze today or tonight. I keep saying today. I don't know why I think it's much earlier than it is. Maybe because that game went by really quickly. I don't know what's going on. They were all of our bigs are really good. I wish it was easier to play them together, because those are a lot of times, especially of late, they've been 3 of our 5 best players. And it's just the fit together with the 3 of them is a little bit clunky. We tried it a couple of times. I know we tried in the Florida game, but man, those guys are really good, the 3 of them. So, anything before we get to the chat here, JD?
No, let's go.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Joe M. What's going on, Joe? Not sure how I feel about that second half. The team came out really strong and wanted to win. They seemed careless at times later in the game. There were a lot of good flashes on defensive end, offensive effort. Maybe they were thinking ahead to the next game. Yeah. And GMAD, shout out to GMAD. Definitely odd to feel so disappointed by a double-digit win. Yeah. Scoring only 25 against BC in the entire second half was pretty anemic, though. I think we were seeing the potential problems coming to fruition. Pat and Cam failing to score at the rim, no offensive rebounding, and nobody else stepping in to score. Yeah, and I think that's why, I know I know we've had some people commenting like they don't want us to shoot threes, just inside only. We're not a good 3-point shooting team, but to me, we've got to keep trying. Not saying we got to shoot 33s, but we got to keep trying. Like I thought today was a good example of trying to develop that part of our game, because to GMAD's point, like if we can't get the inside game going and we're not getting offensive rebounds, we've got to figure out a different way to score. And
Yep.
that was really problemsome. TGNC, what's going on? We did exactly what Carolina did in the second half against Syracuse. Took a nap to rest up for the real game. Yeah, I mean, at least we didn't give up. What was the 32-7 run or something? Or it's crazy. Syracuse, they were down 30. It almost became a real game there at the end. But yeah,
It's funny. We didn't take it. We definitely took a nap, but it was an extended nap. And I was thinking that Shire, it was a good opportunity for Shire to try to see what he could do to get him going. But Jack, as you pointed out, the balance to that is he did want to experiment. He did want to see if he can get other guys going. He wasn't. It'll be, sometimes we always would say, would love to be in the locker room at halftime. Love to be in the locker room at the end of this game when the second half they won 25-22 and looked, as everyone's pointed out, anemic, slow, taking a nap. He's going to be, he can get a little animated, throwing the clipboard around, going, "You play that way against UNC." There'll be a little bit of that.
Let's see. Joe M. Definitely frustrating to see them struggle a bit on offense in the second half. Partially seemed like Shire wanted to have some of the bench get some playing time, but they couldn't expand the lead.
Nope.
Yeah. Laura, what's going on, Laura? Poster dunk by Boozer. Sure was. That was exclamation point to end a really good first half by Duke. Unfortunately, they left that momentum in the halftime locker room.
Bottom of the net.
Yeah. GMAT. Well, Cam and Pat didn't foul out, but they just couldn't finish in the second half and couldn't rebound. One miss each time, and we were done. The scary thing is, without that 11-0 run to start the game, BC could almost have won this one. It's true.
We talked about that a lot. Like, what if the 11-0 run wasn't there? And I think that we might have then been playing far more aggressive.
Yeah.
So you could go either way with what would have happened. But look, won by 18 points, held them to under 50. Hard to say that I'm upset. It's like, again, we're a 21-1 team who lost their only game by 1 point. And it's for us to sit there and nitpick, as we're always preparing for the ACC tourney and March Madness.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about us and everyone who's been joining us, is that we're not looking at this as like, how did we do against Boston College? It's how did we do against Boston College, and how will that affect us for the North Carolina game, and then obviously for the where this team wants to be moving forward. Joe M says, hit that like button. We appreciate that shout out there, Joe. If you haven't yet, do that, please. GMAD says, can we get a dislike button to hit for the second half of tonight's game? It's a good call out there, GMAD. I would hit that with you. I would definitely hit that with you. Yeah, wasn't it? It was like watching paint dry at times, like I never felt any jeopardy, like Duke was going to lose the game. But also, there was nothing exciting. There was no good ball movement. There really wasn't even great defense.
How bad was it, Jack? At the 7-minute and 56, there are 8 minutes left. The score of the second half was Duke 15, Boston College 13. I mean, there's just not a lot of excitement in 12 minutes when the score is 15-13.
I just like, yeah, I don't know. GMAD though, I don't think we hit cruise or lacked effort. We defended well most of the way. We just couldn't score. Maybe some lack of effort rebounding in the second half. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Um, because the defense didn't drop off. I mean, we didn't give up. We didn't allow 50 points. Now, some of this is, in fairness, Boston College is a bad offensive team. They're just bad, and they really can't shoot the ball. So I think that helps our defense look better. Like if we were playing that way, I think against like an SMU, for example, they would have scored more than this Boston College team. And then I don't know if we would have played better because there would have been more pressure and urgency, and that would have got us going a little bit more.
Yeah, but I think at this point, being 21-1, I think the answer to your question, Jack, is we would have been playing better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a night in which we talked about this in the pregame, that it was the possibility of looking past this game to Saturday's matchup with UNC.
Laura says, I rather focus on that we won than what could have happened. Duke has now 11 game win streak against BC. At least Harris finally was shooting and finally hit one shot. Yep. Good for Harris to get in there. I wish he would have took more advantage of his opportunity today, because tonight, man, I'm never going to beat that. Because he got one. He got extended minutes. He typically hasn't gotten those. So,
and his 2 3-pointers, though, both, we know he shoots better from 3-point range, and both of them hit they were off. They hit the I think the front end of the rim, but he had a chance and he took it. That's a good sign. That's a good thing. We want him to. But
you want to know what? I'm not trying to coach for the opposition, but I'm surprised based off of how we've been shooting the ball. More teams haven't gone zone against us.
Yeah. Um, I'll come back to that.
Just let it marinate. Let me know what you think later. What do you guys think about that as well? Like, do you think teams could go zone against this Duke team, especially with the way we're shooting the ball right now? Laura,
I mean,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Uh,
It gives more of an opportunity to, bunch up and slow Cam down
mm-hmm.
by going zone, and but and we don't have someone who can slip into the seam to hit the 2-pointer. I think it's a pretty good point to say, and then
like if I'm North Carolina, they do some full court pressing. I'm dropping into like a 2-3 zone and daring Duke to hit threes. I know you could give up some offensive rebounds, but I just think that's how I would defend this Duke team right now.
Okay.
Laura says, I'm glad the team managers got a shout out by the announcers. That was pretty cool. Good for them.
It went on for about 4 minutes, and they were explaining each role of the team manager, which is really cool. There are 15 team managers
Can't believe
on the
that.
team, and that the number one team manager gets to do the walk onto the court with John Shire. It was an incredible explanation of what their role is, and in a game in which there really wasn't, it wasn't tight every minute. It was a great opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed understanding, what do you think of a team manager? He's the guy that goes out there and wipes the court. Well, okay, there's 2 guys assigned here. There's 3 guys here. Some guys have seniority. How many guys tried out to be team managers? It's very selective. I thought it was, fascinating, and certainly an angle that you'd never hear during a really tight, game.
Yeah. Yeah. TGNC Slim is now 5 of 24 from 3 in the last 4 games. I mean, at least his percentage went up tonight. But yeah, it is not. It's not been pretty. Um, let's see here. Joe M. Foster and Evans had matured a lot in realizing when their threes aren't going in, deciding to drive instead. The same for Sar when he passed the ball to Cam. It was funny when Cam passed it back because you could tell Sar didn't want to take that three. I think Sar's you see it more often now where he's becoming much more self-aware of where he needs to be, what types of shots he should take offensively. You saw it. I know he had the one drive like poked away, and you can kind of see that one coming. But then he had another opportunity on a semi-fast break chance where he pulled the ball back out. I think, and he's taken the corner threes, which he's typically made a decent percentage of. Like I do appreciate that aspect of his game where he's becoming more aware of where and when he should be taking shots. But yeah, that was unfortunately like Cam get back to him twice, and I think Dame was like trying to give that ball up because he knows it's not his spot right now.
Well, and the fact that you say that he only got the ball picked, and I think it was only once
Once, yeah.
as he's driving, and he exposes the ball, which is what enables the ball to be tapped away. And normally you would say he did it again. Did it again. He's definitely doing it less. Caleb has got the ball under control more. Caden still needs to figure that out a little better, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Caden had his decision making on his drives hasn't really improved. There are moments it's kind of like game to game with him. There's some games where it's good. He's aggressive. He's driving. He's scoring. And there's games like tonight where it is you wish he would make different decisions on his drives. TGNC. Oh, one. GMAD said, I could almost hear Sar saying, "Hey man, I can't make this shot from here. Stop passing it to me." That was a good one. TGNC. I'm fighting off pessimism here as it relates to a Final Four run. We're 22 games in and we can't shoot. The Zion RJ season was ruined by poor three-point shooting, and we had Cam Reddish puzzling. Cam didn't shoot a great percentage that year, but he was one of our better three-point shooters, which, to your point, TGNC, said a lot about that year's three-point shooting. I still have hope that Himenia and Evans can get it going from outside. Those are the two guys. If anyone's going to get it going, it's going to be them, but I don't see this team being an above-average three-point shooting team. We're just too deep.
Well, especially where Evans is the second option theoretically in scoring, though Big Pat is starting to rise to the occasion, but that Evans needs to be much, much more consistent than his 5 of 24 or whatever we're at.
He's at like 34% on the season. Some of that is defensive attention. Some of that is shot selection. Combination of both. But he's got to be in the upper 30s, you know? Wonder what he's shooting. I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to look something up. TJNC asks, is the 5-out offense stagnating individual player development?
Is the which offense?
5-out offense.
No. I mean, I wish you want me to expand on that, but I'm not really. You're going to face you're going to face everything, and your ability to then go into the practice sessions, and then a lot of this is, can you take what you do in practice and apply it on the court? And it's I think frustrating. We may be learning a lot about the individual characters of the players, what they're capable of and what they're not.
Let's see. We got a few more here. GMAD, the real problem, Cam shot 33% that second half. That's concerning. That's why we only scored 25. I know the Florida game, he started out, he had a great first half, and then he closed the game strong, but he struggled for stretches in that game, understandably so, against Ruben Chinilu, who is just a monster, and really he can really move his feet for a big guy. And that's how Florida got back into that one. So we just got to figure out, can somebody else, and Evans didn't hit his shots until the end of that game, like, can we get somebody else involved more consistently offensively? Laura says free throw percentage was real good, 70%.
Although, Laura, I did double check, although they only shot 4 for 9. I know the 5 free throws that Boston College missed, so they shot 44%
True.
as a team.
Joe M., maybe I'm convincing myself a little bit, but it does seem like this team plays down to their competition. It also seems like this team likes playing away or on neutral court a lot more. Well, we'll put that away to the test in just a few days here.
Michigan.
Well, that's neutral.
You want to go to UNC, but I want to go to really the Michigan game to find out how good are we.
By the way, quick pause. Who saw that graphic where they put up at halftime? They have Duke as the favorite, and I guess that was ESPN's analytics. In every game remaining, they have us as like 80%, somewhere around that, favorite on the road at North Carolina. Like I think Duke is the favorite. Don't get me wrong, but that seemed like a lot, and we were almost a 60% favorite in the matchup with Michigan, which was, I look at that much more like a coin flip than, Duke being a slight favorite there. So that was surprising for me to see that. But I also know, the Duke-Louisville away game, Louisville was like a 68% favorite to win that game, according to ESPN's analytics. So I don't think they're always so spot on. It was just crazy that I think the lowest percentage Duke had in conference play was the NC State matchup. It was like 73%, which makes some sense to me. That's a trap game.
Given that I don't love the New York Times analytics, and ESPN is sometimes wrong, I think you and I, together with our team, our listeners, our subscribers that are on here regularly, we do as good analysis as anyone else.
That's fair. I think we can do better. Well, we will as time goes on.
Well, but I'm saying we, meaning you, I, and everyone else who is often right there ready to say, here's what you missed. And I greatly appreciate the, our listeners' reactions.
I'm with you. I'm just holding us to a high standard. That's all.
All right.
Always got to be striving to improve. Can't settle. Blue Devil 89. I need Dame to get consistent at something on the offensive side. Thank God for his defense. Yeah, I want to see a little more consistency. I've liked the flashes of connective passing from Dame, but to your point, Blue Devil, it's not consistent enough. And it's...
See, that...
Yeah.
Why... Look, we know that our defense, that's our identity. And usually teams with a defensive identity, when they're up against really good teams, the game is going to be played in the 60s, low 70s, maybe. And that's why I'm a broken record about our free throw shooting, which is gotten better, but it's certain people, it's not everyone. And I'm always going to be concerned. Our defense is going to keep us in every game.
100%. Laura says even Shire was on the injury list. It was funny that he says, he can still shoot with his left hand.
That's right.
Yeah, crazy. Hopefully, Nick, man, that guy takes a beating, and he was bleeding from his nose there. So thankfully he was able to return. RW Force, what's going on? Do we have the best front court in the country? Very good question. I think certainly, off the top of my head, maybe I'm missing somebody, but we're certainly top five. Certainly top five. We've played one already, which was Florida. No doubt about it. They're one of the top front courts in the country. We won that game. We will play one of the others, North Carolina. We will play another one, which is Michigan for sure. What is that? Michigan, North Carolina, Florida, Duke. And then the fifth one, which we won't play unless we see them in the tournament, is Arizona, they're undefeated, and they also have three bigs. Florida, you could argue they have four. Duke certainly has three. Michigan has three. And Arizona has three. North Carolina really only has two. I don't think Jaren Stevenson is as good as the other guys. But do we have the best? We have the best player. Certainly have the best player. But in totality, man.
I'm assuming that means it, best front court would be Gangba, Cam, and it's really Evans.
No. I'm saying Malik. I'm saying
Malik. You see, if Malik, all right, that's what I was thinking. That you were including Malik.
Yes.
And if Malik could have a partial offensive game,
scoring,
then we may very well have the best offensive line. But that you can stay off of Malik, because he's not going to.
Florida and Michigan are really good. Like I may give it to Florida just because of the depth of their front line. Condon's pretty good. We love. I don't know about you, but I love Thomas Houck. I think he's an awesome player. And Chinyalu is ridiculous. They also have hand locked in. But listen, we have the best front court player and the best player in the country, Cameron Boozer. We'll see if there's an argument at the end of the season if Mr. Peterson can stay healthy for a stretch of time. But through February, Cameron Boozer's been the best player in the country. Let's see. Where did I lose us here? Jeremy Farrell. What's going on, Jeremy? Boozer did fantastic. This is a great team this year. I can't wait for the Duke-UNC game. I already know who won. Go Duke. And we are going to go far this year. I love the positivity there, Jeremy. I love that. GMAD, Duke's definitely not helping to push back against the arguments that they're boring to watch this season. They had some good moments in the first half, but the second half did not help that argument. No. Laura says, I've been living in the frozen tundra since Saturday with snow. This is what happened with Duke in the second half. Frozen. They're just frozen out there.
So they took a nap. They were frozen. Some good analogies here to what happened in the second half there.
GMAD says Shire will have a lot of game footage to go over for them to prep for North Carolina. Yep. Joe says, I also thought the zone thing against us, but I didn't want to speak it into existence. Sorry about that, Joe. And I think GMAD says also on the zone thing, zone is just about the only defense opponents haven't tried against Cam so far. Just, I don't want anybody to do it, but yeah, it's just it's weird. Jeremy says, I like when the narrator said put it on a poster when Boozer did that dunk to end the first half. Boozer's going to do the same thing to UNC. Ooh. Ooh, that would be spectacular. We would love that. We would love that. I think Caleb Wilson's probably gonna get one too. But we'll save more of that for later this week. We're gonna have a lot of fun on the preview for the North Carolina game. Michael Joyner, what's going on, Michael? Duke needs to go into the Carolina game wanting this game. They have to be aggressive offensively and defensively. Yeah, I think they will. I really like the way they've shown up for big games this year. They seem to show up ready for the big games. And I mean, obviously they're 21-1. They've shown up for every game, but
Well, and that fits more with the analysis of they play up to their opponent. So for the big game, they're there. And for the Boston College game, it's 25-22 for the second half. They played at the level of Boston College. But the one good thing about all of that is that they're consistent. I mean, consistent to the point of almost being undefeated.
Swisher, what's going on, Swisher? Some games 74% favorite to beat North Carolina. Interesting. Moore 007, what's going on, Mr. Moore? Feels like sometimes this team plays down to level of competition, but then with better teams, they play up to the level of good teams. It's weird, or maybe I'm just being hypercritical. I don't think so. Mr. Moore, I think that's spot on. I think, was it Joe who said that before? Like, it just seems they just. It's not like they're. It's not like they're playing with their food because it would have been a lot more dangerous. Like it would have been a much closer game if that was the case. But they do enough, similar to Virginia Tech. They did enough to kind of keep them at arm's distance, but not enough to like be really comfortable. You're up by 20. Here comes Jack Scott and Cameron Sheffield.
Right. But this, let's not forget the beginning of the game was an 11-0 run.
Yeah.
In Duke's favor. And we were sitting there going like, how high are they going to go? I mean, how many points are they going to go for tonight? And, would JD have been close with his prediction? He was not.
Joe M is also surprised to see us as the favorite for the Michigan game. Michael Joyner says part of the game is mental and Duke needs to be sharp. Laura says Duke is now number one. Maybe not now. Sorry, Duke is number one in the net. That's really important for seeding for March Madness. I think. I mean, Arizona being undefeated, they've got a really tough stretch of games coming up. As of right now, I don't think we would leapfrog them for the number one overall seed. But if they were to lose one and Duke were to stay at the same record, maybe Duke would be the number one overall seed. But as long as they're one seed, I think I'm feeling pretty good about that. Because I just think there's going to be a lot of 2 and 3 seeds this year that are going to be capable of beating the one seed. It'll be much more competitive than where we were last year, where there's the bigger gap between the one seeds and everyone else.
Well, but having North Carolina twice, Virginia, Michigan, depending how we come out of those games, we're going to know how strong a team Duke is. Do we fall to a 2 seed? Or do we deserve the number 1 seed that we currently would get?
Yeah, we're ramping up. We're ramping up now. We're in North Carolina, Clemson, Virginia, Michigan, NC State on the road. Like we've got a number of tough games coming up here, and it's going to be important to see how this team responds. Let's see. GMAT says, I guess because Duke's been playing better and better and going up in the offense and defensive ratings, and Michigan has been playing worse in some games. Good point. Good point. I guess like some recency bias for me. I mean, the Nebraska win was probably more impressive for Nebraska, even though they lost. But
yep.
them beating Michigan State was an impressive win for Michigan. I know Michigan State made it close towards the end, but then Michigan pulled away, and there's still two top 10 wins for Michigan there. Swisher says Duke is better than Michigan. Cadeau is scared of Duke defense. Evans and Sarr were just getting over being sick. Or Foster and Sarr. They both looked fine. This game, though, both had normal defensive intensity. Yep. And Swisher says Cam and Pat better than Vasar and Wilson.
I think so. I agree.
I think so. The stats would say that Vasar is better than Gangba, but Gangba doesn't get as many touches in our offense as Vasar gets in theirs. The one thing about Vasar that is going to test this Duke defense, and we'll talk about this more Thursday for sure, Vasar is really good at hitting the top of the key, extended there, 3-point shot. He's hitting like above 40%. I think in terms of just efficiency, he's their best 3-point shooter. So that's going to pull Pat out away from the basket. So it's going to be something to monitor for sure. And Switcher says, not much from Brown tonight. He was good, but not awesome. Cam had 5 steals. Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Joe M., the fact that...
The only pushback on that comment with regard to Malik is he's like Houdini. It's what you don't see.
Fair. Let's see. A couple more before we wrap up. We appreciate everybody joining us tonight. I can't believe how many of you guys are with us after this game. It's awesome. We really appreciate all of your support. Joe M. says the fact that Michigan has both Cadeau and Morez Johnson is going to make the game really interesting. Both players Duke has played before, even though Morez wasn't playing against us. Good point. Good point there, Joe. And as Laura reminded us, I mean, we've been thinking about that game for a little while now. Cadeau, he is shooting the ball much better this year than he ever did at North Carolina, but he hit some big threes his freshman year against Duke, some clutch ones. So he has gone both ways against Duke. Joe M says, 2 and 3 seeds feel a lot closer this year in the tournament. TGNC, I'm almost certain Michigan will be the Vegas favorite against us. I'm with you, TGNC. I know JD doesn't get much into the betting, but I do. I always like when Duke is an underdog. It's my favorite spot for Duke because, as far as I'm concerned, Duke should never be the underdog. And I'm with you. I'm kind of hoping that's going to be the case. Joe M says, been worried about Vasar since he announced he was coming to North Carolina. He wants revenge for Arizona. He had some good moments in the Sweet 16 game for Arizona. He did. Got to give him credit for that. Joyner says, Michael Joyner, Sarr and Brown can both take Cadeau. They can. The problem is Brown's going to have to guard one of Michigan's bigs because they are just enormous. And so he's going to have to take a Mara or a Johnson or a Lendeborg. But, I mean, what Malik Brown was doing to North Carolina's guards last year, they must have had nightmares. And the funniest part was he was hurt. He comes back for a North Carolina game, and then he did it again for the second North Carolina game. He was hurt. He comes back for that game. They must have thought they were going to avoid him, and you can't avoid him. He's everywhere. His arms are always there, and his processing of the game. That's the thing that makes him such a special player is he sees plays before they happen. He sees them as they're developing, and that's why his defense is so good, and that's why his passing and screening, even though he doesn't score a lot, helps Duke offensively. But we're going to need more from other guys. Not Malik, but other guys.
And I think, a really good example was there was a bounce pass into one of the Boston College players And I pointed out to you that most defensive players would look at the bounce pass and say, great, he gets the bounce pass. How do I guard him? Not Malik. Malik sees a bounce pass and he goes, that's an opportunity for a deflection.
Yeah. Yeah. Malik Brown. Really, really enjoy watching him play. Gonna really enjoy the rest of the season to watch him and Cam Boozer and all the rest of the guys. We appreciate everyone joining us here tonight. We'll be back
Wait,
Thursday.
one more comment. One more comment.
We'll
As
almost
long
get
as we
back.
brought up the managers,
Yes.
then I think we have to bring up, does anyone have a comment? Put it in the chat or send it later with regard to the yellow Jason Tatum sneakers.
Okay. Okay. Let us know. Let us know what you guys thought about that. Like I was going to say, we'll be back Thursday for the North Carolina preview. We're gonna do a little bit different for that one, and then really looking forward to the post game show after North Carolina, the big one coming up Saturday evening. Until then, guys, peace.